I had a long, long dream. I dreamed that you and I met again in the pure white world we created. But I woke up at last, having long been consumed by the raging flames, while you had long returned to the earth, along with that poisoned blood. So most of you probably already know who this person is. First introduced as the 8th of the Fatui Harbingers, La Signora first struts into the scene in Mondstadt as a villain, an enemy, someone who took something very precious from one of our friends. We meet her again later in our journey in Inazuma. Knowing her only as an evil Fatuus, we fight her in a duel before the throne and defeat her. She is then ceremoniously killed by the Raiden shogun as the rules mandate, ending the life and fire of the one who was known as the Crimson Witch of Flames, La Signora, 8th of the Fatui Harbingers. La Signora is dead, and yet echoes of her past remain everywhere. So allow me to tell you the story of the Crimson Witch of Flames, her life, her obsessive, all-consuming love, and reveal the truth of La Signora before she became what we know of her in the story. Let me tell you the tale of Rosalind Krischka Lohefalter, who loved too fiercely, and Rostam, her lover, who died and left his lover to burn agonizingly over his death. The tale begins in Mondstadt, a little over 500 years ago. A knight of Favonius named Rostam is second in command of the knights. Burdened by his duties, the dour man only ever felt lightened from his heavy load by a certain lady in the square, who sang a song that could cause his brow to unfurl. At age 27, Rostam received the title of Wolf Pup. Knights of Favonius tradition dictated that the titles of Lion and Wolf were reserved for those of great leadership potential. Such individuals would one day assume the position of Grand Master, devoting themselves to the leadership of a multitude of knights and the safeguarding of Mondstadt. Rostam was a rather dour and serious individual who took his duties very, very seriously. He was also the head of a secret organization that protected Mondstadt in the shadows. But although he fulfilled his duties faithfully and devoted himself to Mondstadt, Rostam would die in the line of duty after 23 years of service. Lore dictates that Rostam died in the battle between Dvalin and Durin, thinking of his lover in his final moments, leaving Rosalind to learn of his death and become the Crimson Witch of Flames in her grief. From part of the description for the Elegy of the End writes, "The knight was in the valley, spent of his life's blood, and as he fell, he could only think thus, 'She is abroad studying, so she should be well. But how I wish to hear her sing again.'" Yes, Rosalind was in the academia while Rostam fought off the monsters that appeared during the cataclysm. She had been given a hydro timepiece by Rostam to mark her time away from him. However, when she returned from her studies and learned of Rostam's death, Rosalind consumed liquid flame to turn herself into the Crimson Witch of Flames. A crisis centuries ago dashed all hope of the maiden seeing the future promised to her. Those dear to her past days and her bright future, all gone. From the ashes, the Crimson Witch of Flame was born, and she burned away her pain with fire. In her grief and hatred, Rosalind wanted to avenge her lover's death by purging the world of everything that sought to harm Rostam. She blamed the abyssal monsters and even the Animo Archon Barbados for her lover's death. As she burned in hatred, Rosalind was eventually contacted by the Jester, first of the Fatui Harbingers, and recruited into their ranks. The first Fatus found her just before her heart could be destroyed by the eternal blaze. He understood that only deeper hate and obsession could quench the fire that devoured her and make her his ally. Let the flames that now devour you be extinguished by the grace of Her Majesty. What say you? Said the Jester to the lady. And so Rosalind Krushka Lohefelter accepted a cryo-delusion from the Cryo-Archon and was given the moniker La Signora. In her life, she sought to burn the world and purge it of evil. But we all know what her death was like. Yet I cannot help but wonder how Rostam would feel when he sees what his lover had become. In her death, did she think of him as he thought of her?